Post-handover payment plans was a curse that hit Dubai, which should have never happened. It's an easier way out for a developer. Oh, I can't sell, what should I do? Let me give a 3-year post-handover. And it just became a lazy attempt to do it. And most people are actually sensible enough to collect enough pre-handover to fund the construction.
That's what I did in Miami. I wouldn't even consider build to sell is because the numbers didn't make sense.
I think someday Dubai would shift there too. That's eventually the future.
If we're going to speak purely numbers, depreciation and ROI, what would you go for, branded or non-branded?
It would depend. There's always a price, location, product trade-off. Last year we had approximately 200 launches. That's 2 launches every 3 days.
Working with the boutique developer versus the larger ones.
Boutique developers are very flexible. They are competing with giants here.
All right, well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again on our next episode of Main Mic. With today we have with us Mr. Umar Gul with such a vast background in real estate, expertise, positions that are only to be dreamed of that's associated with real estate, especially in Dubai's market. Welcome, Mr. Umar. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you for the very kind introduction.
No, well, I mean, I think one of the things that our audience always appreciates is expertise from the real estate market. Rajay is always someone that the audience can learn from. And today with you on the show, I think we'll be able to have a lot of content that we can educate our audience with.
I hope I'm able to contribute.
Yeah, thank you. So let's get to it. I think one of the things that we have experienced over the last 45 days is a lot of uncertainty. A lot of things that are happening in the global news is perhaps or not affecting our local markets. Have you seen any type of change?
I was asked this question last week, but how I see it is, where does person invest in real estate if not in UAE? US is clearly not a market. Uncertainty is beginning from there. China, not many people understand that real estate hasn't been really good. Far East, other than Singapore, most of it is underdeveloped and Singapore is overdeveloped, leaving less scope for investment. Southeast Asia does not have the best business environment. So if not UAE, if not Dubai, then what?
True.
There's no alternative option yet. Maybe something comes up in the future. So far, if anybody in real estate has to think of a global private equity investment, UAE or GCC would come into picture. Saudi is also doing really well, but UAE remains the core focus.
Yeah. I mean, one of the key, I think, beneficiaries of real estate, definitely from a international investor standpoint, is definitely, you're right, Dubai. Because even my background in US, you wouldn't see people fly in the percentages that you see in the UAE to come and buy real estate.
Happened in Miami in the 90s, and after pandemic, Miami did really well. It was one of the best performing markets in the world. It actually, for the first 2 years after pandemic, it overperformed Dubai.
Yeah.
But then it has taxes. So then the returns are underperforming compared to Dubai. So keeping this in mind, any uncertainty, I believe at the moment would even catapult Dubai further towards growth.
Sure. The overall desire for lifestyle and even real estate benefits of ROI and appreciation, I don't see any other market in the world. You've been traveling a lot lately. Have you seen anything better than Dubai yet?
Honestly, there's no place like Dubai. And I believe actually whatever is happening right now in the world, it's only going to boost the economy here and it's only going to boost the demand in Dubai. Because we have seen this happen previously. We've seen it with whatever happened between Russia and Ukraine. Whenever there's something wrong going on somewhere in the world, it benefits Dubai. So we're actually looking forward to see the impact of this on.
And chaos sometimes creates opportunity for the strong to be able to stand out. And we did that in COVID.
Yep.
In COVID, when the world was shut down, Dubai handled it in a way that basically made it look even more resilient and also attractive to the world. And so I think the same thing, if there is a recession in the world, then I think Dubai's resilience is going to shine again.
100%.
And we passed on that recession risk now. The economists were contemplating that for the last 2 years when interest rates were rising. Now the soft landing has already started. Interest rates have a slight dip also, a rate cut also. So I don't see a recession underway at all.
True.
Probably a little bit of economic slowdown, but I also do not personally see that happening, or if it happens, affecting Dubai at all.
Yeah, recession is definitely a strong word. I mean,
Yeah.
recession, and by definition, it's when you have loss of jobs, and then when you have loss of, let's say, for instance, massive, not just small percentage. And I don't see that happening also, because in the overall scheme, like from a U.S. perspective goes, you still have a hiring shortage. I have businesses there, and when I put an ad in the paper, qualified people are still hard to find. I mean, if there was such a recession coming, then definitely those numbers would change, but that hasn't changed. So from the street, I mean, one thing is Wall Street, and the other thing is Main Street. From Main Street, there's no signs of it. Life is going on there. Consumerism hasn't stopped really. Maybe because the tariffs are on pause for 90 days, but overall speaking, I don't see people just completely changing their lifestyle overnight there.
And there's resilience. The moment there was pause, the stocks almost came back close to
Yeah.
what they were. And there was a dip the moment tariffs were announced. I'm pretty sure that it all will get adjusted in the larger scheme of things. I don't think it's going to affect maybe a little bit of some industries for sure,
Yeah.
but definitely not a countrywide impact just because US has tariffs.
Definitely. And I mean, I think when you look at it from a Dubai real estate perspective, launches are still ongoing.
Yeah.
Every week, there's an exciting product that's basically coming into the marketplace to be able to bring that new buyer into the marketplace. Any
And they're
launches?
also selling very fast.
Yeah. Any
Everything
launches?
is getting consumed.
Correct. Any launches you're excited about?
I'm launching a project in Al Marjan. It's a branded residence. It's an American brand coming out of America for the first time in 100 years.
Nice.
So we'll be announcing it the next week.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Marjan is definitely a hot spot. Have you been?
I've been. It's one of my favorite spots in actually in the UAE. I expect that the hype is going to still continue in Al Marjan Island, even though there are lots of speculations that there will be openings of casinos in here in Dubai that will decrease the demand in Al Marjan Island. But I vouch for it 100%. I believe it's a beautiful project. It's a beautiful, I would say, the whole concept of the island is wonderful. So
I'm so sorry, but I don't think casinos are, even if Dubai has casino, it's going to have any impact. Dubai currently, if we see the coastal area, especially the belt near Jumeirah, we are averaging at about 7,000 to 10,000 dirhams a square foot. If casino is there, probably the prices are going to hit 25,000 dirhams a square foot to 30,000 dirhams a square foot. Compared to that, at 3,500 dirhams per square foot on the beach in Ras Al Khaimah, just an hour's drive sounds like a deal. It'll have its own market, and I really think that it wouldn't impact. US has casinos at multiple places. That doesn't impact Vegas, and that doesn't impact other places as well.
100%.
In Miami, if I compare this to back home, there's Miami and then there's Fort Lauderdale. And Fort Lauderdale is as popular, as touristic, as successful as Miami is. But you're right. There creates this affordability that you have ultra luxury in Miami and then you have affordable luxury in Fort Lauderdale. And so that's probably what can happen between Ras Al Khaimah and Dubai, don't you think?
Probably yes. And Ras Al Khaimah in general has a good economy. It's a trade hub. The banking system is very good.
It's a touristic spot as
it's
well.
a touristic spot. There were five-star hotels even before casino was announced. There were investors buying land, starting hotels before all of this. And talking about Fort Lauderdale, actually it gave 14% yield when Miami yield used to be about 6-7%.
Yeah.
So again, that time, I'm talking about 2016 to 19, Fort Lauderdale yield was among the best in the world.
Yeah.
So there could be
because it was
another
underdeveloped. It was underdeveloped,
there could be
underinvested.
another Fort Lauderdale, and so far we are all concentrated on one island, which is a Marjan Island. Then the mainland developments will also start coming up, which would shape the rest of the city.
Correct.
So going back to the point of the new launches that you're excited about, from your experience, you have worked with major developers in Dubai, and you have witnessed major sold outs in minutes projects.
Yeah.
So my question, I believe lots of people have is the exact same question. Is it real demand or is it PR stunts or orchestrated PR?
See, first thing, I'll answer it. It's real, but I'll give a reason why it is. The data is available on DXB Interact nowadays. Read-in, Property Monitor, all of them provide the data. We can actually see the transactions. So it's not that somebody put a board sold out and then for 6 months we didn't see any transactions. Everything is truly sold out and we see the transaction data, we see the prices, everything is publicly available. But it doesn't, we do say sold out in a couple of hours, but there's months of work that goes behind that launch event. There are thousands of trainings that take place. There are so many interactions with investors that brokers do, interactions with brokers that developers do. All of that is not visible, but that's months of work, which eventually funnels down to one day where all the sales happen. Mm-hmm. But so far, demand is exceeding supply, especially for good product, right price product from a good developer.
True. In my case, I would say the same thing, Raji, that it's the work behind the scenes that really make a successful launch. It's not just the whining and dining and the sales happening on that day. It's that pent-up anticipation that really is basically getting displayed in a public eye on that day. So good developers will make sure that their launch event is timed correctly based upon what they've built the crescendo of demand for their product. Likewise, we're going through the same thing right now as we're preparing ourselves for the next launch. Having the right training material, having the mock-up ready, having the 3D model, and also the awareness of the next launch coming up is all as important as putting a good event
Absolutely.
For people to come and attend. So that's definitely something I think that the major developers have it down to a science to be able to figure out exactly how and when the launch is going to be able to create even more of a demand for their product. There's always struggles and challenges in every marketplace. In the market itself, there's cycles. We might be seeing somewhat in some price points slowdown, but I also feel that brings opportunity. What opportunities do you think will perhaps come out of what's happening right now?
Opportunity actually exists in the mid-segment housing. I'm always a fan of mid-segment housing. People love luxury. I actually dislike luxury. I like to stay away from it as much as I can.
Yeah.
It gets the most affected in the down market. So now being a developer, that's a category I want to, for now, stay clear of. Probably when my risk appetite grows, that's a category I may explore. Mid-segment housing always has a buyer. UAE has a growing population. Even during the slower years, which was 2014 to 19, population was consistently growing. So, and population is still growing. This year we are about to hit 4 million in Dubai. So mid-segment housing will always have demand. They'll have rental demand. They'll have end-user demand.
Yeah.
And I think that's an opportunity which most developers kind of overlook. They either go completely studios, one bedrooms, or they're doing larger units. Nobody's focusing on this 2 to 3 bedroom category. People in Dubai Island are somehow forced to because of the average size of requirement.
Master developer requirements.
But otherwise, all the other places like JVC, Versan, DLRC, Majan, people are sticking only to studios and one beds and purely catering the rental audience.
Do you agree?
I do agree. I actually had a question regarding, do you think that developers are mostly focused on investors rather than actually homeowners? They're kind of the homeowners or the end users?
They are, and rightly so. In Dubai, more than 90% of the population is expat. The first thing they do is they rent. People don't come to stay in their houses. People buy floors and buildings. They can't stay in a floor and in a building. It's mostly to rent it out. Our yield is very good in Dubai. So yes, investors are still the main focus and would remain the main focus as long as city keeps expanding with expats.
My whole experience coming from Miami is that any market, and especially Miami is also a very high touristic market where we have a lot of expat buyers. But my whole understanding of the US real estate market is that any market that is stable is only because of the end users. The more investors you have, the more uncertain, the more rocky that the shake-up can be if ever there is a recession. But I see that the segment of 2 million below bursting at its seams here in Dubai. And why is because people now, after their desire to stay here longer due to the opportunities of gaining their golden visa and so on and so forth, that people are now finally considering Dubai long term rather than just a job between jobs, or let me go and try out what Dubai has to offer, so on and so forth. So I see that segment growing, which will definitely go to complement what you're saying about that mid-tier product that people will want to buy into, is because investors want ROI.
Yep.
And usually ROI usually comes higher with the lower price tag and lower units, smaller units. And people, families and homeowners, they want to raise families. They can't see themselves usually raising their family in a studio. So there is going to be this, I think, phenomenon that's going to happen in Dubai, that where developers outside of the restrictions on certain places in town that Nakhil and the master developers are going to impose larger unit sizes on small developers. I think the demand itself also is going to demand it as well. I've seen that in Forjan. In Forjan, our 2 beds sold faster than our 1 beds. Is because families felt that this is something where I can raise my family before investors. And 95% of our transactions were all to end users rather than investors. Is because Main Realty wants to be known for being able to give that experience and that whole hand-holding culture to be able to give that homeowner the time and energy necessary to be able to make that decision. But Dubai as a whole, definitely, I've talked about this in previous podcasts as well, Dubai's culture has always been selling the floor, selling the ROI. But I think slowly but gradually, I think as our population grows, we're going to see more and more end users, homeowners enter into the marketplace.
And as the population gets steady, not just grows with golden visa, this is the first time we see second generation of expats now grown up and buying properties over the last decade or so. They don't want to leave Dubai. They think Dubai is home. They're born here. They're brought up here. They want to grow here. They want their kids to grow here, being such a safe city for kids, for families. So those are the ones who are turning end users, and they're not looking at ROI in general. So considering that, we would see more of this, like you rightly said. Probably a longer term residency program in the future, which exceeds tenure, would add to it.
Definitely, yeah.
And even this we can see reflected in the numbers that the secondary market has achieved this quarter. It's the highest it has ever been. I don't remember the exact number, but we have done amazingly when it comes to secondary market. And it's mostly not just developers, it's also lots of people who are buying properties to use as homeowners.
As a developer, that's one of my things that I strive for, is that when I know our units that we put out into the marketplace are selling for a premium in the resale market, is when I know that, okay, we have a successful project. Otherwise, I know that when developers are truly like just maxing out their price points just to be able to gain the, I call it taking all the meat off the bone and leaving nothing for the investor, that's when you know that the resale market for that project is going to struggle. But definitely, I think one thing I can say from Main Realty's perspective is that we've been able to successfully get the projects that we put onto the marketplace have a demand even in the resale market.
I have a slightly different view towards it, different outlook towards it. I think the city is growing.
Yeah.
Anybody who's launched anything over the last 1 year, the prices have gone up as long as it's a sensible product. I launched my first project, which I launched in January last year, was a villa project, which just saw 2 resales. It was a small project, 30 villas, 450 million GDV. They started reselling about 20% higher, but I wouldn't attribute it to the good product, which I definitely did design and make, but attribute it to the market growth.
That could be too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So honestly, there are times when even in the master plans, and we did see that the place where we are sitting right now was continuously going down. It's one of the best places in Dubai. I really think Dubai Hills Estate is one of the best master plans Dubai has. And we saw it going down.
Yeah.
So the market growth supersedes anything one can do with the product. And sometimes even bad products grow just because market is growing.
Yeah, all ships rise when the tides are high.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I think definitely, like in the downturn, good product will be able to sustain any type of hits that the market can throw our way. Like and if I compare this back to Miami, for instance, in Miami, the projects that were over leveraged, the ones that were trying to break that comfort zone of pricing and all that stuff, they struggled. And the ones that basically left it in a place where they can let the market desire the appreciation rather than just the developer pushing the envelope.
That's the reason I do not like luxury. That gets super affected
Yes.
super quick.
Yeah.
It could come to half the price if market is slightly turbulent.
Correct.
So that's a category I stay clear of. As long as you make a good product which caters the mass audience, which is
Yeah.
the mid-segment audience, you're less likely to go wrong.
Yeah. What do you think about branded residences? Do you think that's only for the high-end luxury, or that could also serve all other price points as well?
It's a mixed answer. There are times where branded residence is a fad. I would pay a designer to just put out his name. I would just make prettier renders matching the color tone of the brand. But at the same time, there are times when the brand is integrated. Hospitality does an amazing job
Yeah.
in that. In my first project, I had a collaboration with Laminum. It's a ceramic company that produces automobile Lamborghini tiles. So our entire internal wall cladding and flooring came from Laminum, which was, and majority of it automobile Lamborghini. So there was actual branded product placed into the construction, not just a brand where brand provides the render.
Yeah.
Which happens in most fashion brand cases, but hospitality does an amazing job. In most cases, they control design, they control specification. In certain cases, like larger hospitality brands, they even control the architects, the designers, and the contractors you can work with.
Correct.
Making sure that the product is better than what it could have normally been. So I'm a big fan. Personally, I'm
Yeah.
a big fan. I'm not doing too many branded residences. Like I would say 50% of my projects have some brand associated to it. 50% are pure vanilla, straight up. But I see value, that's when I integrate brand. If I don't see value, I wouldn't.
Sure.
But it does help from a marketing point of view. It really helps a developer
Yeah.
to get noticed in a clutter. Last year, we had approximately 200 launches. That's 2 launches every 3 days.
Crazy.
How is anybody going to remember? You got to give them an anchor point to remember.
True.
So a designer's name attached to it, which is far more known and remembered by the consumer, helps remember the product, and that eventually has an impact on the investment also.
Agreed.
It's not that it's an impact only for the developer for marketing. Even when I buy it and I have a designer name attached to my building, it's easier to rent it, resell it. So throughout the life cycle, that brand helps.
But in terms of, like, if we're going to speak purely numbers, appreciation and ROI, what would you go for, branded or non-branded?
It would depend. There's always a price, location, product trade-off. There's no right answer to it. Let's assume everything is identical. I would go for branded.
All right.
Now, in that segment, within branded, you also have a lot of new boutique developers like us that are coming into the marketplace. Their call to the marketplace is quite different than perhaps the larger developers. Some focusing on location, some focusing on their customer service or their product. What do you think is the best choice for a buyer that's going to land tomorrow into the marketplace to consider, or what's the benefits that they can see in working with a boutique developer versus the larger ones?
One, more flexibility. Boutique developers are very flexible. They are competing with giants here. The real estate developers, the government developers here are few of the largest in the world. Competing with them is not easy in terms of location, in terms of the kind of product and the locality, what we call master plan, they're able to create. So the only thing which we can do it with is a better quality product, better service, better payment plans, everything we have to make it better. Actually, Ellington has done a great job at it. Hopefully someday I'll be the competition to them, but they've created a niche for themselves. They're commanding premium everywhere they're going. They're delivering products which people really like. All their delivered products are also at a premium, even in terms of rental. So Ellington has delivered what we are talking about.
Yeah.
They do have an easier payment plan than most of the government developers. They have the same locations as any one of us because they are private developers, barring 1 or 2 projects now because they become very large. But they started in JVC with like most private developers in the city, and they delivered a stunning product there. I'm really impressed with what they've done, and I think they've actually set up a guidebook, a playbook
Yeah.
for what a private
us.
developer should do.
Private developers, yes, you're right. I also agree that Ellington has definitely become the benchmark of boutique development, where we all strive to give that same success story to be tied to our name as well. But overall, I think so many now that have come into the marketplace, and everyone has their own unique selling proposition that has made them successful. And that way, we all benefit. Everyone is looking at this opportunity and then able to add value where probably perhaps before there wasn't any time or effort given. And now we're all, as an industry, benefiting from those opportunities and success stories. DLD is growing rapidly fast. It has to manage the small with the big. Do you see any new regulations that are coming out that can affect our business or how it can help our business?
We are honestly very fairly regulated market now. Any further restriction would make it impossible for a private developer to step into this market. We are at the peak of as regulated as we can get.
Yeah.
Anything more than this, at least I wouldn't be able to launch any other project. I don't know about others. So it's already, we have to pay for land, then we have to pay for escrow, then we need to have sales and marketing money on the side, which is roughly about 20 to 30% of the profits.
Yeah.
And then we need to have our SG&A, our offices. So it's already the initial investment required to launch a project is higher than most countries in the world at the moment.
Agreed.
Any higher than this, I don't think real estate development will be very lucrative. People will then shift to build to rent with financing option to construct their building. Then build to sell would die.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future, which is happening to the developed countries in the West, people are shifting towards build to rent. I think someday Dubai would shift there too. That's eventually the future. And that's where tighter regulations may push us towards that earlier. But I don't think it's required. I think it's perfect. I don't think it's even harsh. I think it's right where it should be. Developers have space to make decent profit, but at the same time, the amount of equity they have to put in, they cannot default and run.
Agreed.
Yeah. So
no, they definitely have skin in the game.
No chance of anybody defaulting a product.
Yeah.
Like they minimized it to zero. It's impossible almost to do it now.
Correct. There's definitely skin in the game for the developer side, and there's a risk-reward ratio that is still handsome enough to be able to take the risk. And you're right about when you said about building to rent. That's what I did in Miami. I wouldn't even consider build to sell, is because the numbers didn't make sense. Is when you put that much skin in the game, then you definitely always only can recapture it over 10 years instead of at sale. So definitely, as a market probably is going to become in that segment, it's going to be something that's going to then have to compete amongst the Western markets that are way more developed.
In West, I wouldn't say they're developed. I see the risk appetite of funds and banks is higher. So since the risk appetite is higher, majority of the developers are funded by some sort of a fund or a bank, because they're able to take a larger risk. With just 10 to 20% of total equity, you can do the entire building just by showing numbers which may completely, by the time the building is delivered, may be completely off. So that's a risk appetite that private equity funds there and banks there really have, which enables to do larger projects. So I think that will come in Dubai as well. Dubai, the city is just being built. I don't think we are at a 50% now. We are probably at some 20% of development. There's another 80% left. So the moment we cross the 50% mark, which will not be anytime soon, that's when I see these private equity funds funding the developers. They would come on, they've already started scouting the market. They would come on institutional level, but for them to come to developers like you and me, I think it'll take another 5-6 years.
But some of the payment plans as they are basically becoming more and more competitive, is basically putting some pressure on the developers to be able to put more skin in the game just to be able to complete construction because the cash flows through the project and collections is not sufficient to be able to finish the project with customer sales. So that definitely is going to change and is going to minimize our market share in as far as new developers coming in, and also the cost of being able to do that project. This is something that I already see, like with post-handover payment plans becoming more and more available and standards in many segments. I think this is something that developers are already considering, like bringing leverage to the team.
I think post-handover payment plans was a curse that hit Dubai, which should have never happened. And now that it has happened, it's an easier way out for a developer. Oh, I can't sell, what should I do? Let me give a 3-year post-handover. Or want another 100 dirhams a square foot more, what should I do? Let me give a 3-year post-handover payment plan. And it just became a lazy attempt to do it. And most people are actually sensible enough to collect enough pre-handover to fund the construction. But that's also dependent upon if the sales reaches
Agreed.
a certain milestone. And when it doesn't reach a certain milestone, that's where construction financing is required. But I believe for each one his own. If somebody can give a 50-year payment plan, good for them. So I wouldn't comment on that. Personally, I don't like it. I think we are delivering a product within 3 years. We should charge money within 3 years.
True.
We can probably push our profits towards the end, but we can't push entire cost towards the end and self-finance the entire project. Then it doesn't make business sense. Can it happen? Yes. But doesn't make business sense anymore.
This is a question for both of you. Do you think that the post-handover payment plan affects the quality delivered of the end product?
It's a gimmick. It gets discounted. That's why most developers, when they have a post-handover payment plan, they take a PDC, post-dated check, at the time of handover. These PDCs are given to the bank and discounted at IBOR plus 1.5%. So the developer gets his money on time. It doesn't affect the quality, but it does bring in buyers who overstretch themselves in order to purchase a property. So the chance of default increases. So if I just have to make a random guess and I don't know the numbers, any developer who has this post-handover payment plan would probably be seeing a lot of delays in payments and a lot of probably defaults compared to any developer who doesn't have that.
I would say that post-handover payment plans gives developers more margin. And if it gives them more margin, a responsible and very reputable developer is going to invest that money into the quality of the project. For us, for instance, in our first project, there was a big percentage that we gave post-handover payment plan. Not because we couldn't have sold it otherwise, or not because this was something that we did to be able to just secure ourselves as being able to sell off the units, but it's because we wanted to make our name known in the marketplace, that we're attracting end users. It did attract investors also, and of course investors like the leverage to be able to use our money to be able to make rental yields and then use rental yields to be able to pay off the post-handover payment plans. But overall speaking, it definitely makes it easier for that family that couldn't have perhaps felt that confidence that they can apply for a mortgage and get approved for a mortgage. So it allows that person to now consider buying from a developer that offers that post-handover payment plan, especially if they're trying to live in the unit. But it definitely also at the same time helps that investor use our leverage to maximize their ROI.
By the way, I said against it. My second project had a post-handover payment plan. I just don't like it though.
Yeah,
I would try to avoid it.
Yeah, as a developer, nobody likes that word because it then shows almost this sign of weakness or the market exhaustion. But at the same time, it's becoming a very important part of the offering and what consumers these days are looking for in a developer.
It's also the micro market you are in. If you are in a micro market where everybody has such a payment plan, you, without being a very big one of the big names in Dubai, cannot suddenly decide, no, I want to do something very different. You have to match what the market, you compete with the product in the market. Each micro market is a competition on its own. I could be competing with an X in DLRC and a Y in Furjan. My competition changes. The way I structure my payment plan changes. So even though, like I said, I'm not a big fan of it, but I had to do it because in the micro market I was present. Out of the 10 active launches that time that existed, 8 had it. And the other 2 that didn't have it were very close to completion, so mortgage could hit in. So in a way, they still had a post-handover, which could happen with mortgage. So then you compete with them in a fair playground by somehow matching what they're doing as well.
Makes sense.
Marketing-wise, I think developers are getting more and more strategic, more and more unique. They're dumping a lot more money into their marketing than ever before, which is allowing for the industry to grow and also for the experience for the consumer and the broker to be at its max. Any marketing strategies that you think that are basically over the top and things that are delivering results for developers and brokers?
In general, I started my career from marketing, but I'm not a really big fan of traditional way of marketing. What I think, when everybody talks about Dubai, we do praise the ruler, the government, and rightly so. They deserve all the praise. But when it comes to real estate, we have another thing which not many cities in the world have. Our real estate brokerage team, like all of the agents, they are what make Dubai real estate so fast, so agile, so aggressive, so successful. So we do undermine these agents. I think all these agents who have come from different parts of the world are marketing to 100 or 200 people that they know without mass marketing is much better than any in-flight advertising any developer can do, any billboard that anybody can take, because Dubai roughly, people say different numbers, I think 30,000, somebody says 60,000, whatever number of agents that are there, each one marketing to the 200-300 people that they know through their social media, through their own telecalling, networking, whichever way they do. That's what makes Dubai Dubai. I really think the strength of Dubai real estate is Dubai real estate agents.
Agreed.
I don't think it's as much the developers, as much the master planners, as much the payment plans, as much the brands that are coming in. I think it's the resilient Dubai real estate agents that make Dubai real estate so successful.
I agree. Raji, I'm sure you can comment on that.
Mostly agents in Dubai, they get lots of backlash, and they don't like whenever you say a real estate agent, like the associations are usually very negative. So it's very refreshing to hear like a different perspective and to actually have the agents or the brokers in Dubai get credit for the performance of this market.
I couldn't agree more. I think any market that's worth its value, it's not because of the flashy ads and the launches. It's the agents that put tireless amount of efforts and money and energy into be able to creating those relationships, not only with their clients, but also with their developers and their sellers. Because there is so much new uncertainties when a buyer lands in Dubai. They don't know anyone, and then they walk into a mall and they're pitched every different developer, and not forget the mall. I mean, the minute they land into the airport, they're pitched every developer, and it's that broker that is able to clarify things and create a level of trust for those buyers and investors to be able to create an understanding before they can invest. And if it wasn't for the brokers, all developers would have been doomed. Definitely.
Not doomed, but it would have been slow. It would have been like any other market in the world. The life cycle in most Western markets and even Asian markets is a product sells over 3 years throughout the construction. So nobody thinks that let me sell everything at the launch, because in most cases it's impossible. But that's predominantly led by agents.
True.
This is not led by any marketing campaign. If I'm a good marketer, I can probably go to Luxembourg right now and launch a building and should be able to sell it in a day. But that wouldn't happen. But I can guarantee this. If I have the same set of agents in Luxembourg, I'll still sell it in a day.
Yeah.
Because they are the ones who actually turn around sales.
Yeah. I think comparing it back to the US, the agents' attendance, agents' engagement for every launch, the excitement, the ability to be able to pitch the project forward and to be able to speak to the clients about it, you don't see that level of engagement in the US. It is a lot more passive, that when my client calls and they're going to be considering something is when I'll go ahead and pitch your product, rather than a forward approach where I'll go ahead and reach out to my to my buyers to be able to tell them all about what new projects are coming into the marketplace. So definitely agree, yeah. Anything that you guys are excited about in the next 90 days in the marketplace?
In the next 90 days, I'm launching 3 projects.
Okay, nice.
So yeah, I'm super excited about that. I'm putting tireless days and hours into those, starting from Al Marjan, and then I have 2 launches in Maidan.
Okay.
And inshallah, even after that, I have a large project which will be launching in about June.
Nice. And for you, Raji?
Honestly speaking, I'm just looking forward to seeing how the international scene is going to impact the market here. So for me, it's just something that I'm looking forward to, because Dubai never ceases to amaze of turning disadvantages into great opportunities. So for me, mostly that.
I think, both sides. Being that I'm still tied to the US market, I'm definitely looking for that from the US market. And then as a Dubai developer, I'm also excited about launching our own project that's going to be coming soon in Dubai Island. So definitely it's something that Dubai continues to do, is to be able to pitch that vision forward with great leaders, with great real estate brokers and great entrepreneurs. I think the city is vibrant and the city is thriving. And regardless of what the old world's economies look like, I think here with the right people, we can take it and turn it around and make an opportunity out of it. I want to thank you both for coming today and sharing your vision and expertise in the Dubai real estate marketplace. I look forward to having you guys again soon.
Thank you so much.
For everyone else, thank you so much for joining us. And please like, subscribe, and comment below. Take care. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. Thank you.
You can do the whole...
Oh, the whole thing. Sorry, because I was looking at the wrong way. Well, thank you guys, everyone. Thank you, both of you, for joining us and sharing your expertise. We hope to have you guys soon again in the next episodes. And for everyone at home, thank you so much for tuning in. And like, subscribe, and comment below. Take care.